Connor McDavid, all the goals. Connor McDavid, all the assists. And as you write about in 31 Thoughts this week at sportsnet.ca, Connor McDavid, all of the ice time, Elliotte.
You know, it's funny. I was sitting there and I was actually watching their game.
This is the Winnipeg game?
No, this is before. I was watching. So they lose to New Jersey and Sweden to open the season.
Yep.
Then they lose to Boston. And whenever he's not on the ice, they are just getting tuned. And then I'm watching on Saturday when they play the Rangers in the afternoon, their first win. And someone says to me, he looks exhausted already out there. Like they are asking him to do everything, and he's doing it, but he looks whipped. Mm-hmm. So I just started looking at the ice time, and, you know, he actually played less last night ice time than he did in the other three games. He was 23 and a half, 23 and a quarter. He was 24 against the Rangers, and he was 22-something against Winnipeg. But what really stands out is that his even strength ice time. He's over 19 minutes this year. He's had two 20-minute games, and he's over 19 minutes overall, and he played over 20 against Winnipeg on Tuesday night. Now, there's another guy who's over 19 minutes this year at even strength. That's Patrick Kane, but that's mainly on the strength of the one game against St. Louis,
right,
when he put up a big number. I think he was like 25 against St. Louis. I don't know if that's going to stay for Kane. But anyway, 19 even strength minutes for a forward. Last year, the leader was Getzlaf, 1733. And he missed 26 games. He only played 56 games. McDavid was 3 seconds behind him. Getzlaf over McDavid by 3 seconds. I think that would happen if they had a real race too. but now, so he's gone from 1730 last year. Now he's already at like 1924. And if you go back, the NHL started keeping officially ice time in the late 90s. Only once has a forward ever averaged only over 19 minutes even strength in a year, and that's Pavel Bure. He did it in 1912 and 2000, 2001.
Not Alex Kovalev.
No, not Kovalev and not Ilya Kovalchuk is the only one this decade
I saw that.
to average 24 minutes overall.
I would have thought Kovalev's ice time, just knowing like how long, like maybe shift length was the longest of anybody.
You know, I would check that. That's actually a really good point. But so if you're looking at Edmonton this year and you're looking at the way they are with McDavid on the ice and the way off the ice, and you know how big a season this is in Edmonton, like so much is on the line. The first group of luxury suites, they're up. The 3-year leases are up. You have to have a good season.
Hang on. Jobs are on the line.
Well, that comes with it. Jobs are on the line, for sure. You know that if you're Todd McClellan, you're looking at your bench, how do you not call his name?
Nonstop.
Every other shift.
Nonstop. Everyone's
97.
Yeah.
And what's he going to do? Say no? No, he wants the challenge. He wants to put the team on his back. So I'm curious to see how are they going to avoid not having a record-setting season for him this year in terms of ice time.
See, the question...
How are they going to avoid it?
Then the question, well, it's two things here. One, have to get to the playoffs. Two, what do you have left when you get to the playoffs?
Yeah.
When everything gets tighter, when the games mean more, and there's that 7-game series, and it's that same guy who's coming at you like a battering ram. Like that would be one of the questions. I guess you can't worry about that when you're just involved in, trying to save everything now.
We're in game 5.
I know. Listen, the Saturday game against the Rangers
was almost a must-win.
It's game 3, and they have to beat the Rangers. I'm like, oh my God, we're in game 3, and they have to beat. What do you mean they have to? Now their schedule is crushing. Tuesday was Winnipeg, Thursday's Boston, then Nashville, Pittsburgh, Washington, and
Nashville's
then Nashville.
On Hockey Night in Canada, yeah.
Then you go. I think the next two are Chicago and Minnesota, so it eases up a little bit. But this is a murderer's row of games. Mm-hmm. Like as much as you look at. See, your thoughts on Connor McDavid and his ice time, I look at this stretch, and I said to myself, man, this is going to be tough on Clefbaum, on Larson, on Nurse. I'm thinking
Nurse played 27 minutes.
Well, I'm looking like this is going to be awful. Chris Russell, this is going to be tough on those defensemen. And I didn't really consider how tough this is going to be on Connor McDavid for that ice time.
And none of those are easy minutes.
No.
Like, there's no relaxed, like, defenseman. Like, Ryan Suter, I always ask him about how much he played because he would play a ton. And he said that you can sometimes find 20 seconds where you can coast on a shift. Yeah. Maybe not 20, but some. you can find a few seconds where you can like there's no coasting for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting the best matchup every night. And he's got speed as his weapon. Again, the power play goal last night, he blew past the Winnipeg defense, scores. I mean, and you know what, Jeff? If they don't make the playoffs, we're going to have this same debate again this year. Can a guy out of the playoffs win the MVP?
There is, again, nothing in the definition.
No. I get all that. And, I'll tell you this. I really wrestled with it last year. And if he's in on 90% of their goals like he is right now, I don't know. Like, I just look at this and, like, he's always put that franchise on his shoulders. What's higher than putting the franchise on your shoulders? Lifting it over your head?
Gorilla pressing it.
Gorilla pressing it 12 times?
Yeah, I know.
Like, that was, it's 4-1 in the second. They're out of the game.
And then McDavid.
And they've got their home opener on Thursday, and that's going to be nasty. Like, you're sitting there thinking, if you're one of the Oilers in the organization, like, we're losing 4-1 tonight. Our fans are going to kill us on Thursday.
It might be the only home opener where they don't do introductions of everybody.
Like, you're sitting...
Stop if they lose that game against Winnipeg.
And then he just puts the team on his back.
Mm-hmm.
He gorilla presses them. That's what we'll say. He gorilla presses them. And he gets them, and now everyone's going to go into that building on Thursday night. They're going to be like, I can't wait to see what he does next. They're going to be so wired up and so excited.
So I was on the...
that is an MVP.
Auston Matthews, shooting percentage.
Yeah, so here's the other one. So McDavid's got the time on ice, and he beat the Oates record of most goals for the start of the season you're involved in. So Matthews was shooting 50% entering Monday's game against the Kings, and he stunk that night. He was over 2, so he's down to 45.5. He's shooting at 45.5%, and one of the things I looked at
what's
was
the average,
what's
around
the
14?
record? Yeah, 14, okay. 15. So he shot 14 his first year, and he shot 18, I think, his second year. Or was it 10 and 14? It's in the blog. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was 14, 18. But anyway, so... the record is Sergei Makarov. He shot 32.3%.
I saw that. I didn't know that was that. I didn't know he did that.
Yes. And Craig Simpson, our guy, he held the record at 31.6 until Makarov broke it.
Simmer's career average, I think, was like 22, 23. He had a good one.
I think he's the highest percentage shooter ever.
Him, Curry, Lemieux, all real good.
I think Simmer is. I'm sure he knows. He'll tell us if we're wrong. But
Bossy, that'd be up there.
Yes. Oh, I love Bossy. But anyway, so Makarov's number 1. But in this century, it's lower. The highest is Ribeiro, 25.2. Although Kerfoot and William Karlsson were both about 23.5 last year.
Yep.
So you're sitting there and you're looking at Matthews as a 45.5 to start the season, and you're not exactly going out on a limb to say that's not going to stay.
No.
But here's the difference in him and a lot of those other guys. Like, he's on pace for 270 shots.
Yeah.
Nobody who's at the top of the list shoots that much, with the exception Gretzky and Lemieux. I think had years where they were both over 275. And they're in the top 25 ever of one season of shooting percentage. So I think the thing for Matthews that's hard is he's a great shooter, but he's a volume shooter. Mm-hmm. And the more you shoot, the harder it is to stay atop that list. But I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do it.
Alex Tanguay was always at the other end of that one. He's fascinating because it's
I believe he's 6th.
But he's low volume, though.
Tanguay
was, he was so frustrating. He was so frustrating to watch as a player because no matter what, normally you see a player with a puck on a stick and you think, great shooting position, pass. Like, that guy turned up more. He would wait. Like, when I think of the history of the NHL and players who only shot when it was the perfect time to shoot, Alex Tanguay comes to mind for me right away.
He's on that 21st century list. Like, he's 4th or 6th or something like that. Yeah, he's got a season like that. I noticed his name.
Because his career, I remember I looked it up once doing an Avs game, and I think his career shooting percentage was somewhere in the neighborhood of 17%.
Yeah.
Which I looked at and I said, wow. There's one of those shows where you're doing like, the unheralded guys from Colorado who don't get, like, whether it's Milan Hajduk, because everyone was on Sakic and was on
He's
Forsberg.
Another guy.
Hajduk is?
Yeah, he's another guy. As a matter of fact, he is one of only 2 players this century who have shot over 20% taking 200 shots
in
a year. he's one, and Brad Boyes was the other.